Good afternoon, and welcome to Celebrating Our Stories, the Multi-Faith Baccalaureate service, which is a part of the 2024 Butler Commencement Experience. Let's applaud for that. We're here. My name is Reverend Daniel Myers, and I am the director of the Compass Center, but many of our graduates may know that as the Center for Faith and Vocation. We recently changed our name, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here. Each of you graduating seniors has a whole book of stories that led you to being here today. And for faculty, staff, families, and friends, you have chapters upon chapters of what you have been writing to accompany our graduates up to this point. Talking with our senior leaders earlier in the semester, we identified 3 themes that seem to emerge in a lot of those stories that they wanted to focus on today. And those themes are overcoming, gratitude, and celebration. So by being here today, you are invited to receive just a few of those stories that intersect those themes along with the sacred practices as well as academic achievement. And we also are inviting you, in addition to receiving those stories, to consider what stories do you need to tell? What stories are important to share at this moment and with whom? As we move through the service, each chapter will begin with a video diary, which is using students on their phones, capturing their thoughts on a variety of the themes that we will highlight. And then the showcase of each part will be our student voices who are here with us on the stage. So join us in this chance to pause on the page and mark this moment before we head into Hinkle, before tomorrow and all the celebration. What does it mean to be intentional and to be thoughtful and to relish in this moment? During the service, you may receive a sacred offering rooted to a tradition with which you are unfamiliar. You may hear reflections or ideas about which you disagree. The views and practices and ideas shared today are the expressions of those who have shared them. We hope this space is an invitation to reflect on the ideas and experiences that are shared across boundaries, but also to reflect and connect on the things that are really tied to a particular experience. All are welcome here. As we begin, I want to acknowledge 2 things. First, we acknowledge that we are gathered here at Butler University on the traditional land of Indigenous peoples. And in this part of the country, in this part of the state, that means we're thinking about the Potawatomi, the Miami, the Delaware, the Shawnee, the Peoria, and the Kickapoo. And we want to honor with gratitude the land itself, but also the Indigenous peoples, both past and present, who have stewarded that land throughout the generations. The second thing I want to acknowledge at the beginning of our service is to be aware that while today and tomorrow are enormously celebratory, for some, it's also a reminder of who is not with us. It's a reminder of who is supposed to be here but isn't. It may be a reminder of who is bearing witness in ways we might not be able to understand. So please join me now in just a brief moment of silence as we acknowledge and recognize that for some, this time is a moment of remembering those we have lost. Thank you. So join me now as we turn a few pages and begin to hear our sacred stories from our students, starting on the theme of overcoming. Thank you.
The biggest challenges I've had at Butler was transitioning from a student to a teacher. The College of Ed has done a good job of getting us into the classroom. But there's a big difference between being a passive observer in the classroom and fully taking over as the student teacher, which is why I like that the College of Ed follows that gradual release of responsibility and we build up to the student teaching.
I've been through lots of ups and downs in college, relationships in and out, having different injuries as an athlete, and also just struggling with being away from home. It's a whole new world being alone so far away.
I am on the track team, but I did have to medically retire after several injuries and surgeries. However, I can just thankfully and gratefully say that having to stop running track was the best thing that has ever happened to me.
I think that a big thing we've done in education to prepare ourselves for after college is learning how to think on our feet and learn how to adapt things to work with kids.
Having faith and having a relationship with God has been so helpful for me because I know that there's something bigger out there and that there's a bigger plan. And so when I hit those bumps in the road, I know there's a greater reason for it and I know I'm growing through it.
God works a lot through my life. I was very blessed to be introduced and just loved in the Athletes in Action group and be surrounded by girls and guys who were following God. So because of that, I just kind of wanted to start my own relationship with God. So as I said, I can just thankfully say that that injury was the best thing that happened because I am now more than an athlete. I'm first the child of God and a daughter of Him who can spread His word and glorify Him every day in my life. Hopefully helping other student athletes and just other students find Him and find their journey with God.
Hello, my name is Diana Minion, and I served on the Hillel board from the fall of 2020 to the fall of 2023. Hillel is the Jewish organization on campus, and I was in charge of planning the religiously oriented events. Thinking back to that first year and all of the things that we had to work around with COVID reminds me of how much the class of 2024 has overcome. The idea of overcoming is also close to the heart of Judaism. Throughout history, our people have overcome tragedy and persecution through our unwavering faith in God. One of the prime examples of overcoming in Judaism lies within the story of Passover. Passover is a Jewish holiday which is celebrated from Nisan 15 to 22nd, which on this year in the Gregorian calendar was April 22nd to 29th. Passover is referenced in daily Jewish worship, and the story is retold every year. It is a crucial part of Judaism. If you don't know, the story of Passover is that the Jewish people were slaves in the land of Egypt, and God delivered them with a series of 10 plagues, as well as the splitting of the Red Sea. The Passover story is one of overcoming for many reasons. First, the Jewish people had to physically overcome their oppression by escaping Egypt. The second reason is more subtle. Having lived in Egypt for over 100 years, it was easier for the Jewish people to physically distance themselves from Egypt than it was for them to mentally distance themselves. On the journey between Egypt and Israel, the Jewish people often lacked courage and wanted to turn and go back to Egypt. While it had been extremely bitter there, it had also been comfortable because it was familiar. The joy of the choices brought by freedom also came with the responsibility of those choices and their consequences. The same concept applies to graduating seniors. While our experiences at Butler have hopefully not been bitter, we may be reluctant and apprehensive about leaving college and entering the real world. Having spent 4 years in the same place, it may be slightly terrifying to leave, even though the ensuing journey is exactly what we need. Butler has supplied us with the tools we need. However, college does not and should not last forever. To be successful in our lives beyond Butler, we have to make sure that we both physically and metaphorically leave college and take responsibility for and joy in the choices we make for ourselves. The story of the Exodus was not an ending. Rather, it was the beginning of a long journey to the Promised Land and to living a life according to the Torah. As the Jewish people prepared to enter the land of Israel, Moses reminded them that they had heard the commandments of the Torah. In Deuteronomy, or Devarim, chapter 30, verse 19, he says, "I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. You shall choose life so that you and your offspring shall live." As free individuals, the Jewish people are able to reject the Torah. However, Moses implores them to choose the right path, to take it back to overcoming. We as graduating seniors also have a choice, and this is also not our ending. We can try to hold on to the feeling of being a college student and avoid moving forward because it's scary and uncomfortable. Alternatively, we can appreciate the lessons we've learned and everything that we've overcome throughout our college career and use that understanding to continue to grow in our new endeavors. The choice is yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon and congratulations to the fellow graduating seniors. I am so honored to have the opportunity to be speaking on behalf of AAA and crew. My name is Julia Putzi, and I'm from Annapolis, Maryland. For those who don't know, Athletes in Action is a national Christian organization for student athletes. I have been a member of the women's lacrosse team here at Butler for the past 4 years. This whole grade has faced a multitude of circumstances where our only option was to overcome. Entering into college in the fall of 2020, we were told that it was a blessing that we were even allowed to be on campus, and I knew this to be true. I am from the East Coast, and over 80% of my friends from home were either not allowed to live on campus or had no in-person classes. Still, all social interactions were stunted, as the only time I could meet people was with a mask covering half of our faces. I was looking everywhere for a sense of community, but forming relationships when we physically had to be apart made it nearly impossible. I know now that I was not alone in these struggles, but at the time, I was afraid I was failing myself because I wasn't having the picturesque college experience that I dreamed about since committing to Butler. While these internal struggles were happening, I was also experiencing injuries and frustrations related to lacrosse, including 3 season-ending injuries in a span of 3 years. A verse that helped me cope with these many low points I faced was Romans 5:3-5. We rejoice in our sufferings, knowing that suffering produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope. And hope does not put us to shame, because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us. This concept of rejoicing in our pain was such a foreign idea. Why would God let us suffer? For a long time, I was missing the point. God doesn't want us to suffer, but suffering is a part of life. The pain we feel has a purpose, even when it can feel especially cruel at times, and the questions like, why is this happening to me, and haven't I dealt with enough, continue to arise. Looking back and seeing the strength that I found during my 4 years at Butler have really cemented my love of this verse. The highs and lows of the past 4 years have strengthened my character, and I wish this for all of us as we close this chapter. And now I'm so excited for what this next stage will bring, struggles and all.
Gratitude to me means recognizing all that you have and expressing thankfulness for that.
I'm really thankful for the opportunity I've had to be a part of crew on campus, as well as so many different clubs and organizations.
I would say I am grateful for the opportunity to be part of the Butler University Honors Program. Initially, the honors program is kind of what drew me to apply to Butler, and receiving entry into it kind of pushed me to decide on Butler as my new home. I thought the opportunity to be part of a program that connects students from all types of majors and backgrounds would be super helpful in my education. I've had the opportunity to meet so many different awesome faculty and professors that have helped support me in so many different ways, and the classes have also allowed me to dive more into myself and my personality.
The main experience at Butler that I'm grateful for is my major, health sciences. I'm very grateful for the faculty that I've been able to work with, the students that I've become friends with, and also just the overall classes that I've been able to take through this major.
I'm definitely most grateful for my community here at Butler. When I came in as a freshman, I was a new Christian through different disciplers, different friends, the crew community, even Young Life and other societies like that. I learned what it meant to walk in my faith.
The person at Butler that I think of immediately is Dr. Taichin, my organic chemistry professor. She was somebody that was always supportive of all of her students and very approachable to ask questions to, and really building those student to teacher relationships, and I'm super grateful that I was in her class.
Hello, my name is Hala Vanest, and I'm one of the co-presidents of Butler Crew. I've been a Christian for a long time and would love to lead you all through an example of how I pray. I invite you now to join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you humbly today with so much thanks and gratefulness. As we have reflected on the beauty of our time here at Butler, I am reminded of your greatness and kindness to every student here. You have led and guided all of us to this point and have been faithful to see us through times of joy, love and excitement, sadness and sorrow. I am certain that many of us in this room are thankful that we are done with long nights, studying for exams and writing papers. But what I feel most thankful for is how your mercy to each of us allowed us to get through difficult times and experience growth. There is sadness in saying goodbye, but we are also grateful for what we have to look forward to. Lord, in each new endeavor and adventure that these students will embark upon, I ask that you be with us and lead and guide us. Would we look to you for our direction and joy? God, I am deeply grateful for where we have been and look forward with hope to where we will be. Thank you for Butler, the students, the professors, and the staff. They have cared for us well and brought life to this place. We have wonderful memories from this short and sweet time in college. We are thankful and grateful, God. I give you all the praise, honor, and glory. And it's in your precious name that we pray. Amen.
Hi everyone, my name is Suji Bandaro and I'm speaking on behalf of South Asian Student Association today. If someone would have told me I'd be giving a speech at graduation 4 years ago, I would have laughed and said that's really funny. To be honest, if someone told me half of what I accomplished, I'd have the same response. I think if we all take a moment and reflect on what we accomplished over the last 4 years, we would feel maybe shocked, proud, happy, grateful. When I look back on my Butler experience, I have all of those feelings, but the gratitude stands out. The people, the community, and the memories make this place so hard to say goodbye to. So I thought today in this speech, I'd like to share a story of how Butler has made me feel so grateful. When I think back to 2020, I was a pretty shy college student. I took a leap of faith by immersing myself in various clubs during block party the first week on campus. Little did I know that this decision would lead me to find a second home within the South Asian Student Association. Attending that first SASA meeting on Zoom was nerve-wracking, but the warmth and inclusivity I encountered instantly melted away any reservations I had. It was there that I found my community, a group of individuals who not only shared my cultural background, but also embraced me for who I am. I attended that first club meeting in the pharmacy building, which was a movie and painting night. We watched one of my favorite Bollywood movies, and I got to meet some amazing people. That day, I felt home at Butler. Throughout the rest of my time, I stayed heavily involved and later became co-president. This gave me the opportunity to work with the best executive board and put on numerous cultural events that have shaped my time here at Butler. SASA is one of the many clubs that has not only brought me great people, but memories that I will forever remember. The support and sense of belonging that I found within the Butler community have been invaluable to my growth and development. As I prepare to say goodbye to this chapter of my life, I am filled with a sense of gratitude for every moment, every friendship, and every opportunity that Butler has given me. So as we stand on the precipice of our future, let us carry with us the lessons learned, the memories shared, and the bonds forged. Let us embrace the challenges that lie ahead with the same courage and determination that have guided us through our time here. And above all, let us never forget the impact that this university has had on each and every one of us. Thank you, Butler, for the memories, the friendships, and the countless blessings. Here's to the next chapter of our lives, filled with hope, resilience, and the unwavering spirit of the Bulldog family.
means to me just like the little moments that you spend with other people, whether that's your friends or family, and just enjoying the time that you guys spend together.
So joy for me is being able to experience positive life experiences with the people around me or just myself, and being able to share that joy with everyone.
To me, joy means a celebration of self and life. I think sometimes we can get lost in what we do and what we achieve, but I think joy means really focusing on like ourselves, who we are, and what we really contribute to the world.
I really enjoyed just getting to see friends every day and meeting new people. Whether that was in my classes, I really enjoyed discussions with classmates and professors, or even just like studying biochem with friends.
So I don't have a specific moment, but I know like coming into the diversity center and like seeing all my friends there, like either studying or just hanging out, it just brings me joy every single day knowing that I'll see them there.
What brought me joy was having the freedom to kind of live the way that I felt would make an impact. I can advocate for things the way that I want, and understanding that I had that freedom, I think that brought me joy.
A big part of my faith is being grateful and showing gratitude, and I think that that helps you remember and not take for granted the little moments that can bring you joy.
So faith definitely makes me appreciate the moments of joy more. I know in Islam we have a thing where it's like this moment will soon pass, and oftentimes that's for people who are in like a place of hardship, but it's also applicable for like joyous moments because you tend to like appreciate the moment more and you live more in the present.
So faith has shaped how I experience joy, just from the fact that I didn't always think that like I deserved to be a joyful person. I didn't think that it was for everyone. And I think just coming to understand myself and my faith, I've come to understand that everyone has access to joy. It's just we have to be intentional about how we embrace it.
Good afternoon. My name is Abby Olson, and I am a health sciences and Spanish major. I am also a member of the cross-country and track and field teams. I have been involved in Episcopal Lutheran Campus Ministry, Grace Unlimited, for 2 years. I would like to present a reading from Paul's letter to the Philippians, in which he encourages the community to celebrate. A reading from Philippians. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again I will say, rejoice. Let your gentleness be known to everyone. The Lord is near. Do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, beloved, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is pleasing, whatever is commendable, if there is any excellence and if there is anything worthy of praise, think about these things. Keep on doing the things that you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, and the God of peace will be with you. Graduation is an exciting time, but it can also generate a lot of uncertainties. We wonder where we're going to end up living, where we'll find a job, and what life will look like as our undergraduate education comes to a close. I discussed this feeling with the former Grace Unlimited chaplain, Father Sam Vaught, while I was wondering where I would go for graduate school. He referred to the situation and feeling as liminal space, where we're looking into a future that we don't have a clear picture of yet. While liminal space can be intimidating, this passage from Philippians reminds us that we can leave our apprehension about the future behind and be joyful, because we can trust our faith to guide us through the uncertainty. And just as we can trust our faith, we can also trust in what we have learned in both our educational and faith journeys over the past few years. As we look into the future with anticipation, we can rest in this trust and give ourselves the opportunity to rejoice and celebrate our accomplishments as university graduates. As we prepare to go into the uncertain space, I encourage you to celebrate what is true, honorable, pleasing, commendable, and worthy of praise.
We find joy in many places. It It can be derived from our accomplishments, our altruistic actions, our spiritual connections, the gratitude we express, and the relationships that we form. My name is Yusuf Diyat. I graduated this past December with a combined psychology and political science degree. During my time at Butler, I served as a Muslim Student Association president, a board member of the Students for Justice in Palestine, a member of the Interfaith Council, and as a Morton Finney Diversity Scholar.
And my name is Rami Das. I studied finance at the Lacey School of Business and started a real estate business while I was in school. I was a board member of the Muslim Student Association, a Center for Faith and Vocation Scholar, the president of the Students for Justice in Palestine, and a Morton Finney Scholar, because Yusra and I often joke that we double majored in student organizing. Yusra and I initially struggled while creating this reflection. We found that we hadn't taken much time to reflect on what joy and celebration meant for us. It's easy to remember the hardships throughout our experience, but we don't often reflect on the moments of joy because they were layered between our struggles and our times of hardship.
The happiest moments were accomplishing what we thought was impossible. The battles that took days, weeks, and months to fight, the battles we're still fighting. One of those events originated in the fall of 2022. In our junior year, we hosted the first Joint Diversity Center event, Joint Struggle, Joy, and Solidarity. What started as a quick meeting between the Latino Student Union and the Students for Justice in Palestine to discuss how we could show solidarity became so much more. Members of each Diversity Center organization contributed to the culmination of this meaningful event. The event was a tribute to Angela Davis, specifically her book, Freedom is a Constant Struggle.
Our entrance into Butler leadership began our first year on campus with the cancellation of Angela Davis and a fellow Muslim Palestinian student overcoming what seemed like an insurmountable challenge through the support of her allies. This event was created to remind ourselves that with the community that we create, students can overcome anything and force change upon the world. We join together in our struggles, but especially in our joy.
This is an important reminder in a time when the ongoing genocide in Gaza has left children without parents, parents without children, individuals without siblings, and people without their closest lifelong friends. As community organizers and students, watching the genocide unfold and feeling helpless in the face of injustice clouded our last year on campus. But in these dark times, we found people who remind us to sustain ourselves and remain steadfast in our struggle.
These people who reminded us that there is no limit to what we can accomplish. These were the Randall Ojedas and Jesse Needers of the world. They stood by us at every difficult moment. Their first response was always, how can we make this happen? And they never told us that our goals were impossible.
We are invigorated by the people whose love, passion, and strength are enough to change the world. These are the Melkas, Lindsays, and Carissas of the world. Rain, snow, or shine, these people will fight with every fiber of their being for what is right. They are a reminder of why we fight so fiercely, and a reminder to sustain and protect ourselves so we can fight another day.
We also found ourselves surrounded by people who were brave and stood up for what was right, even in the most difficult times. The Black student unions of the world, their courage and that of the board to be one of the first to publicly stand with the Muslim and Palestinian communities, the commitment of Kamari, Reagan, and Giselle at every event and every protest fighting for Palestinian liberation was inspiring.
Then there are those who have demonstrated to us what true faith and bravery is. These are the Mu'taz Azizas, the Wa'il al-Dahduhs, the Plessy al-Aqads, and the Bisan Houses of the world. These are the journalists of Gaza who have risked their lives and continue to risk their lives to show the world the truth. In a time when journalists are under attack, these journalists have showed us both the vulnerability of Gaza and its people during this genocide, as well as the incredible strength and faith of its beautiful people who fight for their land, culture, and heritage against all odds.
So what gives me hope after I graduate? Yusra and I have been good friends since our first semester at Butler. She's someone who's sincere, supportive, and compassionate. Her name comes from the Quranic verse, وَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا فَإِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا. Verily, with hardship comes ease. Yusra, meaning ease, and the verse stands as a reminder of a promise from God that there is ease during and after every hardship. As we plan our future together, the promise from God shines a light on our path, We find the ease from our loving parents and families, our professors and mentors, our friends, and our community.
These people bring us joy and share with us in our celebration. They are a reminder of a more joyful world that we have a power to create. They are a reminder of why we, in solidarity with so many university students across the world, pray for a free Palestine.
Thank you to all of our students and their perspectives and what they have shared. Can we give them all one more round of applause, please? We've had a chance to hear a few stories that are tied to distinct experiences and perspectives of our individual students who have specific traditions, specific languages, particular worldviews and ideas, and the beautiful array of meaning-making using Butler experience, faith, and their cultural traditions. So I want to thank our students, and I want to pivot to this question of how do we pull ourselves together? How do we find the binds that tie us together? And I think meaning-making is a key place to do that, and specifically through stories. While your stories would be different than mine, and what makes things meaningful to you might be different than what is meaningful to me, I do believe that there's a common interest in having meaningful lives. We want things to matter, and the way we make sure things matter is how we talk about them, the stories we tell. So a quick story from me, when I was in the moment our graduates are in right now. When I graduated college, I was a double major in biochemistry and religious studies. The biochemistry was so I could get a job after college, so my dad said. And the religious studies was so that I could be in the conversations I wanted to be in, so I said. And given what I do now, there may have been a false choice there. So as a double major, I had two theses, one looking at the viscosity of the deep eutectic solvents, and one wondering about the merits of vertical eschatology. And if anybody has more questions about either of those things, we have a reception afterwards. I'm happy to say more. When I was done with both, some friends and I drove out to the Oregon coast. I went to college in Oregon, and we made a little campfire out of the driftwood on the beach. And each of us took a turn holding our thesis and telling its story, how it came to be, what it said, what it meant to us, and then putting it in the fire. And I really do remember that particular fire. I've had a lot of campfires in my life, but I remember that fire and watching two theses burn. No one told us to do that, but we knew this labor, this love, and this passage of time needed to be addressed some way. We needed to look at those theses one more time, share with one another, and then let them go. And since many of us were religion majors, we had a deep abiding appreciation for the symbolic. And since many of us were chemistry majors, we also had a deep appreciation for lighting things on fire. So the campfire was perfect for us. It was our way of building meaning out of the stories we wanted to tell, but also letting go. And I wonder what has been meaningful to our graduates and those surrounding him with support this time? And what are you letting go of? So I want to offer some examples for our graduates to consider, and I'll ask our graduates to stand if you are able in body or spirit, if what you hear was indeed something meaningful to you. And so for each person who in a moment may stand, again, whether in body or spirit, there is a story there. And as we stand together, we can imagine the library of stories unfolding that bind us in our pursuits of meaning. So for example, graduates, please stand in body or spirit if you're able, if, like me, submitting that final thesis or those final papers was deeply meaningful to you. There's a few. Okay. Wonderful. Please stay standing. And for other graduates, if performing on a stage somewhere on campus for the final time was meaningful for you, please stand. If playing your last game, your last match, your last meet, your last competition of some kind was meaningful for you. If forming the relationships that you have formed that you hope will become the lifelong bonds that you may have beyond today and tomorrow, if that was meaningful for you, please rise. If using your college experience as a season of exploring faith, values, and ethical commitments was meaningful for you. Those who are standing, our hope is that becoming closer to who you are meant to be is what you've experienced here at Butler, and any number of ways that that's happened, we want to celebrate. And for those standing, tell those stories. What you're standing for are the things that have mattered to you, and don't forget that. This is the time and space to recall and tell those stories, but also beyond today. Thank you. Please be seated. For our faculty and staff in the room, I want to do something similar. I'll just offer 2 prompts. We're here for the relationships, right? So let's visualize that for a moment. So for faculty and staff, stand in body or spirit if you're able. If for you, your relationships with our graduates, your mentorship, your guidance, the support you've offered them, if that has been meaningful to you, please stand. And I'll ask folks to stay standing if you hope to remain in the lives of graduating students, to remain a conversation partner with them, and perhaps see them in time, not as students, but as colleagues. Graduates, take notice. This is just a tiny microcosm of who is at Butler. Only some folks could join us today, right? So think of all the people across campus who would have stood and who are standing, who want to be there in your life. This is why we're here, is we're here for the relationships, and that's why you came, is you came for the relationships. So please note, who is in your Butler life? Because we are here for you beyond just today and tomorrow. Nothing changes. In fact, it does change into a new chapter. So thank you to my colleagues. Please be seated. And also for our families, our friends, chosen families, the folks who are part of the support networks who are here. This moment can mean a lot of different things for you, I would imagine. I'll just offer one invitation to you. So please stand if you're able, in body or spirit, if in the last weeks, in the recent weeks, you have told a story about your graduating student. Maybe it's a story from when they were little, maybe it's a story from this weekend, or anywhere in between. Have you been telling stories about this person? Yeah. We can't help but tell the stories of those we love, right? Keep telling those stories. Tell them even the ones that everybody already knows. Keep telling your stories. But what I want to encourage you all to do is to try to create a new story about this weekend. Try to inform or share with your graduate what it means for you to see them doing this. Because that's a story only you can tell and something they can only receive from you. So thank you. Please be seated. We are bound in this room by shared stories of young people becoming who they will be, right? That is marked by a pursuit of meaning making, but also marked by a series of letting things go. The promise of a college education is not a certain career or a certain opportunity or a certain set of experiences. It is growth, it is change, and it is the promise of becoming. Much like a campfire in its meaning making, but also its letting go. So our hope that for our graduates, is that you continue to be storytellers and that you continue to be becoming with a Butler education in hand, in mind, and in spirit, that you will author new stories and shape new meaning. And on the way, we hope that you will overcome the challenges, acknowledge the gratitude, and make plenty of time to celebrate. May it be so, and thank you.
Good afternoon. Today marks a significant moment of transition, a bridge from your time as college students to your future as college graduates. As we gather here to celebrate your accomplishments and reflect on the journey you've undertaken, let's take a moment to recognize the profound transformation that has brought you to this point. I would like to acknowledge the wonderful reflections, the wonderful stories provided by our students today. Your insights have been both inspiring and heartfelt. We are also grateful for the beautiful music provided by Professor David Murray and DJ Smith, which has enriched this service. A special thanks to Reverend Daniel Myers for his leadership of the Compass Center, guiding us through wisdom and grace. Throughout your time here, you have overcome challenges, embraced new opportunities, and grown in ways you may not have imagined. You have cultivated resilience, deepen your understanding, and form connections that will last a lifetime. As you stand on the cusp of this next chapter, take a moment to reflect on the spiritual dimensions of your journey. Whether through faith, meditation, mindfulness, or a connection with nature, nurturing your spiritual self has been a cornerstone of your development. It has grounded you, provided you with peace in times of chaos, and connected you with a deeper sense of purpose. As you prepare to move forward, I encourage you to carry with you the values that transcend any particular faith or belief system, the values of love, compassion, and kindness. These are the guiding lights that will help you navigate the complexities of the world ahead, fostering a more just and compassionate society. Your journey from this point is one of endless possibilities. Embrace it with an open heart and a sound spiritual mind. Let gratitude be the lens through which you view your past, and let celebration be the spirit with which you approach your future. So, as you prepare to step into the commencement of your new chapter, I offer you this final charge. Go forth with confidence, grounded in the values of love, compassion, and kindness. Embrace the journey ahead with a spirit of gratitude and a heart full of celebration. You are well equipped to face the challenges and seize the opportunities that await, and I have no doubt that you will make a positive impact upon the world. Congratulations, graduates. May your journey be filled with purpose, light, and boundless possibilities.